coach in NFL history lost his battle with leukemia on Saturday. Former Dallas Cowboys head coach Tom Landry was surrounded by his family when he died at the Baylor Medical Center at the age of 75. Tom Landry is survived by his wife of 50 years, Alicia, and their 2 children. Tom Landry, dead of leukemia at the age of 75.
Here is the scene at Tom Landry's funeral. A gray fedora sits on the altar. Next to it rests an open Bible. These simple symbols tell the story of a man built on faith, principle, and success, but this was the end of a tragic death. The legendary coach had just lost a 9-month battle with leukemia. He was only 75 years old, yet this was not his first tragedy. His first death happened years earlier. It was a professional death. It came on a golf course in 1989. That's when the Dallas Cowboys fired him. After 29 years, the story most people know is simple. A classless new owner named Jerry Jones bought the team and brutally fired the legend. Jones never even met him before that day. The whole thing seemed cruel and heartless, but they lied about this. The real tragic truth is far more complex. Yes, Jones fired him, but Jones was just the scapegoat. The people who really betrayed Tom Landry were the ones closest to him. His old boss, Bum Bright, hated him. His longtime colleague, Tex Schramm, tried to replace him behind his back. Even the fans had turned on him. A poll showed 61% of local Dallas fans wanted him gone. Everyone wanted change, but nobody had the courage to do it. So they let the outsider take the blame. To understand this lie, we must first understand the legend. Tom Landry was called the Man in the Hat. He built America's team from nothing. For 3 decades, he stood on the Cowboys sideline wearing his signature fedora. He looked like a statue, calm, stoic, always in control. But he was more than just a coach. He was an innovator. As a player for the New York Giants, he helped invent the 4-3 defense. This new formation changed football forever. It used 4 down linemen and 3 linebackers. It could stop both the run and the pass. Soon, every team in the league was using it. When Landry took over the Cowboys in 1960, the team was brand new. They were an expansion franchise with no history and no talent. They went 0-11-1 in his first season. It was a disaster. They didn't win a single game. Most coaches would have been fired immediately, but the owner believed in him. In 1964, owner Clint Murchison gave Landry a 10-year contract. At the time, Landry's record was just 13-38-3. He was losing far more than he was winning. Most people thought Murchison was crazy. Why would you give a losing coach a decade of guaranteed work? But Murchison had faith. He saw something special. Landry later called that contract the most important thing that ever happened to his career. It gave him the time and security to build something lasting. He used that faith to build a dynasty. He created the famous Doomsday Defense. It became one of the most feared units in football. Opposing offenses couldn't figure it out. The scheme was too complex, too smart. Landry was always thinking 3 plays ahead. He studied film like a scientist. He used computers when other coaches were still using clipboards. He revolutionized the shotgun formation on offense. He created the multiple offense with its confusing pre-snap motions and shifts. Every innovation made his team harder to beat. He won 2 Super Bowls, Super Bowl VI in 1972, Super Bowl XII in 1978. He took his team to 5 Super Bowl games total, but the numbers that truly stand out are these. From 1966 to 1985, the Cowboys had 20 straight winning seasons, 20 years in a row. No other NFL coach has ever matched that record. It will likely never be broken. The NFL today is designed for parity. Teams rise and fall quickly. What Landry built was a monument to sustained excellence. If you appreciate these deep dives into sports history, hit that subscribe button and let me know in the comments. What is your first or most powerful memory of Tom Landry? People called him Ol' Stone Face. He never smiled on the sideline. He rarely showed emotion. Some thought he was cold. Others called him Pope Landry or Plastic Man. Even some of his own players used these nicknames. But this was by design. He believed a leader had to stay detached. He had to make tough decisions without feelings getting in the way. He had to cut players when necessary. If he got too close to them, he couldn't do his job. So he kept his distance. He maintained control. Behind that stone face was something deeper. Tom Landry was a man of deep Christian faith. He taught Sunday school every week. He worked with the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. He spoke at churches and youth groups. He lived by a simple code: faith first, then family, then football. In that order, those priorities never changed. Even when the pressure was enormous, even when the media criticized him, even when fans booed, he stayed true to what he believed. But by the late 1980s, things started to fall apart. The team was losing. The game was changing. A new generation of players didn't respond to his old-school methods. Landry himself later admitted he struggled with the sociological challenges of coaching modern players. The culture had shifted. Players wanted more freedom, more individuality, more attention. Landry's rigid system didn't fit anymore. After 20 straight winning seasons, they stumbled. In 1986, they went 7-9. The winning streak was over. In 1987, they went 7-8. Then came 1988, they finished 3-13. It was the worst season since the team began. Only 3 wins in 16 games. Fans were angry. The stadium stadium was half empty. People stopped buying tickets. Something had to change. The owner, Bum Bright, was losing $1 million every month. He had financial problems, the savings and loan crisis hit him hard, his other businesses were failing. He couldn't afford to keep bleeding money on a losing football team. He had to sell on February 25th, 1989. A man named Jerry Jones bought the Dallas Cowboys for $140 million. Jones was an oil and gas businessman from Arkansas. He was loud, he was brash, he wore flashy suits, and he had big plans. Jones made one thing clear from the start: he would only buy the team if he could hire his own coach. That coach was Jimmy Johnson. Johnson had been Jones's college teammate at the University of Arkansas. They played football together. They won a national championship together. Now, Johnson was coaching at the University of Miami. He had just won a national championship there too. Jones wanted him in Dallas. And that meant Tom Landry had to go. The firing happened on a Saturday afternoon. Landry was finishing a round of golf near Austin, Texas. He was relaxing. He had no idea what was coming. Two men showed up at his villa. One was Tex Schramm. Schramm was the team president. He had worked with Landry for all 29 years. He was Landry's colleague, his partner, his friend. According to reports, Schramm was crying as he delivered the news. The other man was Jerry Jones. Landry had never met him before. This stranger now owned his team. There was no negotiation. There was no appeal. Jones told him the news: "You're fired." Landry was shocked. His blue eyes went glassy. He stared at them in disbelief. Then he said something that cut deep. "You've taken my team away from me." It wasn't the complaint of a man losing a job. It was the cry of a creator losing his life's work. This wasn't just a team. It was his team. He built it from scratch. He made it great. And now it was gone. Then came the press conference. It became known as the Saturday Night Massacre. Jones tried to praise Landry. He called him an angel. He compared him to legends like Bear Bryant and Vince Lombardi. He even said Jimmy Johnson couldn't carry Tom Landry's water bucket. He was trying to show respect, but then he ruined it. He shouted the truth. "I wouldn't have bought the Dallas Cowboys if Jimmy Johnson couldn't be my coach." He waved his arms. He got emotional. He made it clear that Landry's legacy meant nothing to him. The media was shocked. They called it classless. They said it was a new low in how to treat a legend. Jerry Jones became the villain overnight. The backlash was massive. Jones received death threats. People sent him letters saying they would kill him. He had to tell lawmakers in Arkansas that his life was in danger. He later said, "I was Darth Vader." That's how hated he was. People saw him as pure evil. Meanwhile, the city of Dallas rallied around Tom Landry. Over 100,000 people flooded the streets for a parade in his honor. They held signs. They chanted his name. They wore fedoras just like his. But it was one of the largest gatherings in Dallas history. A local sportscaster named Dale Hansen said it perfectly. "Jerry Jones broke into the museum and stole our most valuable treasure." The whole city was mourning. Even decades later, Jones admitted the firing was one of the great PR disasters of all time. He said he still wears that stain. He said it's something he can never fix. But here's where the story gets complicated. The popular version makes Jerry Jones the villain. And yes, he handled it badly. He was clumsy. He was insensitive. But he wasn't the only one who wanted Landry gone. New evidence shows the truth. The old owner, Bum Bright, hated Tom Landry. According to longtime Cowboys radio announcer Brad Sham, Bright turned down higher offers for the team. Why? Because those buyers wanted to keep Landry as coach. Bright wanted Landry out so badly that he sold to Jones for less money. Think about that. He gave up millions of dollars just to make sure Landry was fired. Then there's Tex Schramm, the man who cried at the firing, the man who worked with Landry for 29 years. Turns out Schramm had already tried to replace Landry in 1987 or 1988. Schramm thought Landry was going to retire, so he brought Kansas City Chiefs coach Marty Schottenheimer to Dallas. Schottenheimer was looking at houses. The plan was set. Schramm was going to announce him as the new head coach. But then Landry held a surprise press conference. He announced he wasn't retiring. He wanted to coach into the 1990s. The plan fell apart. Schramm was furious. He had been working behind Landry's back the whole time. Even the fans had turned. A Fort Worth newspaper ran a poll before the sale. It asked, should Tom Landry be replaced? 61% of local fans said yes. More than half wanted him gone. The people wanted change. They were tired of losing. They were tired of the old ways. So here's the real story. Everyone in the Cowboys organization wanted Landry gone. The owner wanted him gone. The general manager wanted him gone. The fans wanted him gone. But nobody had the courage to fire a legend. Nobody wanted to be the bad guy. Bum Bright even offered to fire Landry himself. He told Jones, "I'll do it. You don't have to be the bad guy." But Jones refused. He thought it would be more respectful to tell Landry face to face. He thought he was doing the right thing. He thought Landry deserved that much. That decision made him the perfect scapegoat. It let everyone else look clean. The old guard could pretend they were innocent. The fans could pretend they were loyal. And Jerry Jones took all the blame. His classless act allowed the Cowboys establishment to absolve themselves. They united everyone in righteous anger directed at the newcomer. Publicly, Landry handled it with grace. In 1993, the Cowboys inducted him into their Ring of Honor. It was a big ceremony at Texas Stadium. Thousands of fans attended. At the ceremony, he thanked Jerry Jones. He said, "I have no hard feelings. The hard hard feelings are over," he smiled. He shook hands. He looked like he had moved on. But privately, the family was bitter. According to a biography called The Last Cowboy, the truth was different. The new Cowboys organization took away the Landry family's suite at the stadium. They had sat in that suite for decades. It was their home. Now it was gone. They wouldn't even let Landry's son, Tom Jr., buy season tickets. The man who built the franchise was being erased. They wanted no reminders of the past. Then came the most tragic detail of all. Tom Landry spent the final years of his life rooting for the New York Giants. Not the Cowboys. The Giants. His wife Alicia explained why. She said the Giants owners, the Mara family, never stopped being our family, they called. They visited. They treated the Landrys with respect. The Cowboys, under Jerry Jones, had become strangers. The man who built America's team no longer felt like he belonged. He watched Giants games on TV. He cheered for them. It was the ultimate symbol of his exile. It was his quiet protest against the organization that abandoned him. Then came the final tragedy. In May 1999, doctors diagnosed Landry with acute myelogenous leukemia. It's a severe form of blood cancer. It attacks the bone marrow. It's aggressive. It's deadly. He began treatment at Baylor University Medical Center in Dallas. The treatment was brutal. Weeks of chemotherapy, rounds of medication, long hospital stays. He lost weight. He lost his hair. He was exhausted all the time. For a while, it looked like he might recover. In August, tests showed he was in remission. The cancer was gone. His doctors were hopeful. His family celebrated, but the disease came back. It always comes back with this type of leukemia. He needed more chemotherapy. By November, he was too weak to attend an awards dinner in his honor. His family released a statement saying he was still fighting, but everyone knew the truth. He was dying. Throughout it all, he never complained. The CEO of Baylor Healthcare System was a friend of Landry's. His name was Boone Powell Jr. He visited often. He later said Landry was an outstanding patient. In all his visits over all those months, he never once heard him complain about his condition or his pain. Not once. Not about the nausea, not about the weakness, not about the fear. Landry faced his illness the same way he faced everything else, with stoic strength, with quiet dignity, with unwavering faith. His wife Alicia was by his side the whole time. She never left. She was his constant support. She held his hand through every treatment. She prayed with him. She was his rock. On February 12, 2000, Tom Landry passed away. He was 75 years old. The nation mourned. Television networks interrupted regular programming. Newspapers ran front-page tributes. The NFL commissioner released a statement. Players from across the decades shared memories. His memorial service focused on his character, not his football success. Former quarterback Roger Staubach spoke through tears. He could barely get the words out. He called Landry our rock, our hope, our inspiration. He admitted that not every player loved him. Landry was too tough, too demanding, too distant. But he said they all respected him, every single one. That respect was earned over decades of consistent leadership. Running back Don Perkins captured it best. He said, "Tom, you were an enigma to all of us. We loved you and you scared the hell out of us at the same time." That was the duality of Landry. He inspired loyalty and fear in equal measure. His son, Tom Landry Jr., spoke of his father's virtue and high moral character. He said his father never strayed from his principles, not once, not even when it cost him. At the front of the service sat that gray fedora and the open Bible, the same symbols from the beginning. They represented everything he was: faith, class, excellence, the three pillars of his life. The hat symbolized his iconic status. The Bible represented his foundation. The firing made Tom Landry a martyr. It transformed him into a symbol of loyalty and dignity in a business world that values neither. People saw him as a victim, a good man destroyed by greed and ambition. The irony is powerful. Landry himself practiced detached, business-like management. He kept his players at a distance to make cutting them easier, but in the end, that same cold approach was used against him. He was undone by the very philosophy he championed. But his battle with leukemia showed who he really was. He faced death the same way he faced everything else, with quiet strength, with grace, with faith. He never wavered. He never broke. In the end, Tom Landry's story is about more than football. It's about how dignity and faith can outlast betrayal. It's about how a man's true character shows not in victory, but in how he handles defeat. He lost his team, he lost his health, but he never lost himself. He is remembered not just for the wins or the innovations. He is remembered as the man in the hat, a figure of class, principle, and tragic grace. His stoic silhouette came to represent not only control and excellence, but also profound grace in the face of professional betrayal and personal mortality. What do you believe is Tom Landry's single greatest legacy? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and if you want more stories about the true legends of sports, make sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching.